The men in the content space who use the word legacy are almost always using it in the achievement sense. Legacy is the company you build, the wealth you accumulate, the brand you establish, the platform you create. These are real things, and I do not dismiss them, but they are downstream of something the content space almost never talks about. They are downstream of character. And character, the actual substance of a man, the thing that determines what he does with power and opportunity and difficulty and the people closest to him, character is built in the ordinary days, not in the achievement moments. The legacy that endures is not primarily what you did. It is who you were while you were doing it. There is a verse in Proverbs that the men's content world would rather not look at directly. Not because it's obscure, it is famous. It is quoted at commencements. It is recited in devotionals across the English-speaking world. It has appeared on more greeting cards and embroidered pillows than I care to count. And most people who cite it have no idea what it actually demands. Proverbs 16:32. Better a patient man than a warrior. Better one who controls his temper than one who takes a city. If you understand that verse correctly, not in its greeting card form, but in the actual weight of what it is saying, it is one of the most dangerous and demanding statements in all of Scripture about what it means to be a man. I think about this most clearly when I think about my grandfather. He was not a famous man. He did not build a company, write a book, or establish a foundation. What he built was something harder to quantify and far more durable. There was a way things were done in his presence, a standard that was held at the table without ever being announced. The way he received bad news, without collapsing, without explosion, without making the crisis about himself. The specific look he had when something was beneath what he thought a man should do. No lecture, just that look, and everyone in the room understood. I carry that look with me. It is more valuable to me than anything he could have left in an account, because it is a pattern of character, transmitted through demonstration, absorbed through years of proximity. It is the most durable form of inheritance. Here is what my grandfather probably never said to himself. I am building my legacy right now. He was just being who he was, consistently, in the ordinary circumstances of ordinary days. And that consistency, that fidelity to a standard when no one was making note of it, is exactly what made it transmissible. That is legacy in its truest form. Not achievement documented for posterity. Pattern transmitted through demonstration. Here's the cultural lie that most men are living under. The lie goes like this. You have time. Build the achievement first. Build the career, the business, the financial foundation, the platform. Once those are secured, once you have arrived at a place of established capacity, then you can turn your attention to the other things. The relationships, the character, the interior life, the ordinary fidelity, the small choices, the way you treat the people who have the least power in your world. There will be time for those later. This is not true. And the men who believe it are not discovering it is not true in an abstract way. They are discovering it in the quality of their marriages, in the distance between them and their children, in the way the people who know them best respect their achievement and are not sure they know the man. Character is not built later. It is built in the exact season you are in. The man who postpones his interior formation, who treats his present life as preparation for the season when legacy building becomes his priority, that man is in the middle of his legacy right now. He just does not know it. Every man is always already leaving something behind. The question is only whether he has decided what it is. So what does it look like to build legacy as a present tense practice? The first thing is what I would call a legacy standard. Not a bucket list and not a goals document. A simple, honest statement of who you are choosing to be, not what you are choosing to do. What does this man value? How does he treat people who can do nothing for him? What is the quality of his word? Not in the public commitments, but in the small, private ones. What is the quality of his attention when the people he loves are speaking? Is he fully present or technically in the room and mentally elsewhere? These are not productivity questions. They are character questions. And the answers accumulate over time into what a man actually is. The second thing is visible practice. Legacy is transmitted primarily through demonstration, not instruction. You can tell your children anything. What shapes them is what they see you do when you think they are not watching. A father who talks about integrity and behaves inconsistently when the cost is real has not transmitted integrity. He has transmitted its performance. And children and the men around you are more perceptive about the gap between those two things than most men want to believe. This is humbling. because it means the legacy you are building depends not on your best moments, but on your average ones. A Tuesday afternoon when you are tired and the situation is annoying and no one would know the difference. A difficult conversation with someone who frustrates you, in private, where no one is keeping score. A small promise, to someone with no leverage over you, that you keep or do not keep. That Tuesday, that conversation, that small promise, that is the legacy. The achievement moments are the evidence. The ordinary moments are the construction. The third thing is temporal honesty. Most men live as if the important season is ahead of them, as if they are in a waiting room, and the room where the real work happens is the next one. This is one of the most effective lies the enemy of a man's soul tells him, because it is so plausible. Of course you are not finished. Of course there is more to build. Of course the situation is not yet ideal. And none of that changes the fact that the man you are becoming is being formed right now, in the waiting room. In the season you have decided is not yet the real one. There is no later version of you who will do this differently. There is only the man you are choosing to be today. Colossians 3:23-24. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. Paul is writing to ordinary men in ordinary occupations. He is not writing to kings or apostles or men with platforms. He is writing to slaves and freedmen and tradespeople and household workers. He is saying, in the most unremarkable work of your most unremarkable day, bring your whole heart. Not because people are watching, because God is. That is a different orientation entirely. The man who is building for human recognition will build differently than the man who is building for divine acknowledgement. The man building for human recognition needs an audience to sustain his effort. The man building for divine acknowledgement can work in the invisible season, in the unrecognized discipline, in the year when nothing notable happens, in the decade when the external evidence of his character has not yet compounded into something others can see, and still be building something real. Deuteronomy 6 gives the Shema, the central declaration of Jewish faith, and then immediately turns to the question of transmission. These commandments that I give you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home, and when you walk along the road, when you lie down, and when you get up. This is legacy theology. The inheritance is transmitted in the ordinary moments, sitting at home, walking along the road, lying down, getting up. The small repetitions of a man's ordinary days are the curriculum for the next generation. What a man talks about when there is nothing pressing to discuss. What he does with his eyes and his hands and his attention when the day is unremarkable. What he says and what he does not say, and what his silence communicates. That is how it is passed down. Legacy is not a project you complete. It is a posture you hold. Here is what I want to leave you with. If the men who know you best, not your admirers, not the people who have seen your best moments, if the men who have watched you in ordinary circumstances, the ones who know what you are like when you are tired and under pressure, and when there is nothing at stake, if those men were asked to describe the standard you hold as a man, what would they say? Not what you accomplished, who you were while you were accomplishing it. That answer, whatever it is right now, is your legacy in progress. Not what you plan to be, what you are demonstrating. The legacy is not what you leave. It is what you are building right now, in this day, in this ordinary season, in the room you are sitting in.